All right, so today we are diving into something really cool, moringa. You might have heard it called the miracle tree.
Yeah,
It's having a real moment right now.
right.
But we're going deeper than just the hype. We're really trying to understand what's going on with moringa in Ethiopia. And believe it or not, it's already a pretty big deal there.
hmm
Millions of people rely on it.
And that's what's really interesting. It's so ingrained in Ethiopian culture, you'd think we'd know, like, everything about it.
Right.
Especially in the South, the Konso people, they've been using it forever. But actually, when you really look for it, there's not a ton of hard data on how much is produced or how much it's worth.
It's like this hidden, it's like a diamond in the rough, in a way.
Exactly, yeah. Tons of potential.
Yeah, tons of potential. And speaking of potential, our sources actually paint a really interesting picture of how moringa goes from these like backyard trees to, something you can buy. We're talking about smallholder farmers. And just so everyone's on the same page, that basically means families growing moringa on a smaller scale,
hmm
often just enough to feed themselves. But imagine if they could connect to a bigger market, right?
Right?
What could that look like?
That's where understanding how things work now is really important. Right now, it's really informal, the moringa market. Think of it like, I don't know, buying something from a street vendor
Mhm.
versus a supermarket.
Okay.
With the street vendor, you don't necessarily know where it came from, how good the quality is, and that makes it tough to track anything, to make sure the quality is good, to get people to invest, and those are all things that could really help moringa take off.
It's like we're talking about this amazing plant, right?
Yeah.
Such a rich history, but the systems around it aren't quite there yet to help it flourish.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And that's where things get really interesting because our sources point to some solutions that are starting to pop up.
Okay, now you've got me. I'm hooked. Tell me more.
Well, one of the big things is it can be hard for farmers to get quality seeds and seedlings.
Oh, wow. So you're saying even just getting started, like having the basics.
It's a really common problem. And then on top of that, there's financing. These smallholder farmers, they might not have the money to get, better equipment, training, even just the supplies they need.
It's like you need money to make money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
But I did see that some organizations like IUTA and Axion are working directly with farmers. What are they doing that's different?
Yeah, they're doing great work. IUTA and Axion has these microloans specifically to help farmers get past that financial barrier so they can invest in better materials, better training,
Oh, I see. So they're helping to level the playing field a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not just about the money though, right? I mean, I bet growing and harvesting moringa, there's a learning curve there, right? It's not easy.
Absolutely not. And that's another area where IUTA and Axion is really shining. They're working one-on-one with farmers, a lot of them women and young people actually, to teach them the best ways to do everything. Planting, irrigation, harvesting, processing, the whole 9 yards.
That's awesome that they're focusing on women and youth. But it does make me wonder, our sources touched on this too, about access to land,
Right. Huge issue.
even with the best training in the world.
It doesn't matter if you don't have anywhere to plant. And for women and younger generations, getting land can be a real struggle.
It's like we give you the tools, but you need the space to use them.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a bigger picture here. We need everyone on board, right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. What you need is a multi-sector approach. That means the government, private businesses, NGOs, they all need to be working together.
Yeah, okay, I like that. So how does that work? What does each, what does each group actually do? What's their role?
So the government, their job is to create a good environment, with policies.
So the government's setting the stage, businesses are bringing investment, market access. Sounds like we're really cooking here. But where do the NGOs fit into all of this?
NGOs like IUTA and Action, they're the ones who really make that connection between the big picture stuff and what's actually happening with the farmers, They provide the training, the support, the access to resources, so those local communities can actually be a part of this whole moringa movement.
They're not just getting a handout, they're getting a real seat at the table.
Exactly, and that's what I think is so powerful here. It's not just about, the money. It's about social impact, making things fairer, and building a better future for everyone.
And we can't forget the environment. Our sources talked about moringa being a climate-resilient crop. What does that even mean?
Moringa is tough. It can grow in some pretty difficult conditions, even with very little water, which is huge in places that are really feeling the effects of climate change. And it doesn't need as many resources as some other crops, which is great for the environment, too.
So it's a win-win. Good for the planet, good for people, what's not to like?
Right. But this is what I find really fascinating. From a scientific point of view, Ethiopia has these unique types of moringa,
Oh, really?
and they might have nutritional and medicinal benefits that we don't even know about yet.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. Unlocking those secrets could be huge, not just for Ethiopia, but for everyone.
Exactly. And that's why this whole idea of everyone working together is so important. You need the researchers, the businesses, and the farmers all talking to each other to really explore those possibilities, create new things, and then share that knowledge.
It's pretty amazing to think about Ethiopia, known for its coffee, maybe one day being known for moringa too. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What about us, the regular people buying this stuff? What can we do?
It's all about making informed choices as a consumer. Look for moringa products that are ethically sourced, support the companies that are trying to do things the right way, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Where did this moringa come from?
It's easy to forget when you're at the store holding that bag of moringa powder or whatever, about the journey it took to get there. All the people involved, the farmers, the people who prepared it, the researchers, and yeah, even us, the people buying it. We're all part of this big moringa story. So next time you see it, think about what it represents. Not just some trendy superfood, but like a chance to be a part of something positive that's happening in Ethiopia and all over the world.
Yeah, it's a story about resilience, about finding new ways of doing things, and the power of people working together. And it's still being written.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this. How will you be a part of the moringa story? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.